Hey everyone, and welcome! Today, we're going to dive into a small, often overlooked device that plays a huge role in keeping our world running smoothly. It's the silent guardian for pumps everywhere, the flow switch. Okay, so picture this. What's the one thing that can prevent a total, catastrophic failure in a massive factory, a skyscraper, or heck, even in your own house? Now, you're probably picturing some crazy complex computer system, right? Or maybe a whole team of engineers watching monitors. But a lot of the time, the answer is way, way simpler. It's an unsung hero, working silently inside the pipes. And that is the flow switch. Think of it like a gatekeeper. It just sits there, watching for liquid moving through a pipe. And when it sees the right amount of flow, or a lack of it, it flips a switch. It's such a simple idea, but man, the implications are huge. All right, so here's the game plan for today. We'll start with its core mission, then we'll pop the hood to look at the different types. After that, we'll see them in action out in the real world, and we'll wrap up with a handy checklist for how to choose the right one. So, first up, what is this thing actually doing all day long? A flow switch essentially has three big jobs that are just critical for any system that's moving liquid around. Job number one, the big one, is pump protection. This is its absolute top priority. Second, it's what makes systems smart by handling automatic operation. And third, it provides constant system monitoring, pretty much acting as the eyes and ears inside those pipes. Let's really zero in on that first job, because it is absolutely the most critical. You see, when a pump runs without any fluid, that's called dry running, and it is a pump's absolute worst nightmare. The friction creates so much heat so fast, it can literally melt seals and just destroy the whole thing in minutes. A flow switch is that safety net that screams, "Hey, no water here," and shuts the pump down before it destroys itself. And it's this really simple on or off logic that makes the switch so powerful. If it sees flow, it can kick on a booster pump or send a system on signal. But if there's no flow, it does the exact opposite, shutting down that pump to protect it, or maybe triggering an alarm. It literally turns the physical movement of water into a direct command. Okay, but of course, it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. Different jobs and different fluids are going to need different designs. So let's pop the hood and look at some of the most common types you'll find out there. First up, you've got the classic, the paddle switch. A little paddle just sits in the pipe, and when water pushes it, it flips the switch. It's simple, it's cheap, and it's a workhorse for general water systems. Then there's the piston type, which is a bit tougher. Flow pushes a magnetic piston, making it awesome for high-pressure stuff. And then there's the thermal switch, which is honestly pretty genius. It has a tiny heated sensor, and it measures how quickly the fluid cools it down. More flow means more cooling. Simple as that. And yeah, that's the real magic of a thermal switch. It's solid state. There's nothing to wear out, nothing to get jammed. That makes it incredibly reliable and super precise, which is perfect for monitoring really small flow rates where a paddle might not even budge. And believe it or not, the tech gets even cooler. For conductive liquids, like wastewater, there are even more advanced types. You've got these magnetic switches that use Faraday's law of induction. Yeah, the same physics that makes electric motors work to measure flow without even touching the liquid. How cool is that? All right, so that's the what and the how. But where do you actually find these things? The short answer, just about everywhere. Let's look at some real-world examples. This chart really paints the picture. Look at that. A huge slice is in HVAC systems, making sure all that coolant is flowing. Another big piece is in industrial processes, followed really closely by fire protection systems. And yep, they're also in our homes and even in solar water heaters. The takeaway here is just how versatile these things are. I mean, it's the little guy that tells your booster pump to kick in so you get good shower pressure. It's what stops a super expensive HVAC tiller from freezing solid. And in a fire, it's the device that knows water is moving in the sprinkler pipes and tells the whole building's alarm system to go off. It really is a true multi-purpose tool. And I think this is so cool. The exact same technology that is a life or death safety device in a fire sprinkler system is also the thing working in your basement to just make your daily life a little better. It's a perfect example of high-stakes engineering making its way into our everyday comfort. All right, let's get into our final section. So whether you're an engineer, a tech, or just, curious, you might be asking, how do you actually pick the right one? Well, there's a pretty straightforward checklist you can follow. It really boils down to 4 key things you gotta ask. First, what's the pipe size? Second, can it handle the system's pressure and temperature? Third, does its activation point line up with the flow rate you're trying to watch? And last but definitely not least, the big one, do you need it to be normally open or normally closed? And trust me, this is a super important difference. Okay, think of a normally open, or NO switch, like a doorbell. The circuit is off by default. When flow comes along, it pushes the button, closes the circuit, and starts something, like a pump. A normally closed, NC switch. It's the total opposite. The circuit is always on. When flow starts, it breaks the circuit to stop something, like turning off an alarm that's been warning you about no flow.
And hey, here are a few pro tips for you. First, to get a good reading, the switch needs smooth, calm water, so you need a nice straight run of pipe both before and after it. Material choice is also huge. Brass is usually fine for water, but you'll want stainless steel for anything corrosive. And look, if this is for something important like safety systems, always look for those certifications like UL.
So, yeah, we've seen how this one little device is a protector, an automator, and a monitor, all rolled into one. It's just a perfect example of beautiful, simple engineering working behind the scenes for us. The next time you turn on a faucet or feel that cold AC kick on, give a little nod to the unsung hero in the pipes.
And that kind of leaves me with one last question for you to chew on. The flow switch is just one example, right? So what other simple little switches are out there just quietly running the world all around us? Something to think about. Thanks so much for tuning in.